FatDag is a Weight Watchers leader in Indianapolis, Indiana. However, the views and opinions expressed during this podcast are his own. They do not represent the views of Weight Watchers. And now, here's your host and wingman, FatDag.
I am your host, FatDag. You're listening to WhysAdvice. My weight loss journey failed when I focused on how. It wasn't until I switched my focus to why that I truly transformed myself. Join the show on the web at FatDag.com and follow along on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, all at WhysAdvice. Send in your comments, your questions, your celebrations. I'll include them as part of the show. But before we dive in, remember, when you're out of points, stop eating points. Hey, I'm honored to be your wingman as we walk through this journey together because I believe in you. Well, hello. Welcome to episode 145 of WhysAdvice. And I want to open the show with a good, just again to let you know that this show is brought to you by my good friends over at Nokia Health. They continue to provide a lot of the financial support to get the podcast out in the air. Want to give you a shout out right now. I'll put a link in the show notes, but I'm starting to I've been using it for a little while now, but their Steel HR activity tracker was just released. And I tell you, one of the coolest things about it for me is the fact that it really is it's a lovely piece. It looks more like an analog watch than it does a fitness tracker. So I got this thing, for those of you who are on the live show, you can see the actual watch. But that's my step tracker. It doesn't scream activity trackers, Fitbit, whatever the other competitors are. It's just a watch that counts my steps. So shout out to Nokia Health. Thanks for providing that to me. I'll wear it for. It's the only one I've worn for quite a while. I'll wear this new one, the new Nokia Steel HR, for quite some time, and I'll be sure to let you guys know how it goes. If you want to get one, I'll put the link in the show notes. It was just now. I think it's only been on the market now for maybe about a week. So very, very, very cool. So Nokia Health guys, thank you for that. The first email coming up is from Linda. She says, "Hi, Mike. I so appreciate you and your real life anecdotes. My question for you is, why do we revert back to old detrimental habits? I've been attempting to follow the Weight Watcher program since January, and I've lost 26 pounds. But every so often, my old habits creep back in. I would like to think that after such a long time, new habits would dominate. Am I psychologically damaged? I wish you and me good focus, Emily." Emily, no, you're not psychologically damaged. And let's just talk about this for a second. Clearly, I'm not a medical professional. We've had that conversation before. So, if the question is simply reverting back to, or simply framed around, I'm reverting back to my old habits, does that make me psychologically damaged? Probably not. Certainly you can go seek some medical advice if there's more going on. That's always something you should do. I don't want you simply to ignore something because I said no, or diagnose something because I said yes. So put that disclaimer out there. But let's talk about our habits. It takes about, 21 days for us to develop a good habit. So think about that for a second. If for our entire life we've had bad habits and bad eating habits, and then it just takes 21 days to establish a new habit, don't you think on day 22 that there's still 20 to 30 years worth of habit history that's still reprogrammed in the brain? So sure, you can develop a habit in 21 days, but in order to make it last, it's got to stick around for a long time. Now, I'll tell you, I've been a soda drinker my entire life. And so I finally, about 2.5 years ago, almost 3 years now, I gave up soda completely. And so I just said, I'm done. I went cold turkey overnight, went from 12 sodas a day down to 0. That was almost 3 years ago. And I can tell you now, there are still days when I see myself reaching for one and seeing it and going, ooh, I bet that tastes fantastic. It's been 3 years since I've had my last soda, and so I still, on occasion, have that craving. So no, I don't believe, even though 21 days can go by, and you can get to the point where you say, I now am starting to establish new habits. you're always going to have to revert or fight the revert back to an old habit. So we do that. That's how our bodies are programmed. You can't undo 20, 30 years of history in 21 days alone. But in 21 days, you can completely make a change where you now are mindful of what you're doing and you're rebuilding a new life and you're making a complete change to get yourself healthy and happy, and you can live that for the rest of your life. So you're very welcome. The real life anecdotes is what makes this show real. We're all together in this. Every single one of us has something that we're facing, and we have to get to the point where we have to say, hey, I want this new lifestyle more than I want the old lifestyle that I've had. You've been following the program since January. You're down 26 pounds. That's incredible work. That's incredible focus. That did not happen by accident. Every so often, your old habits are going to creep back in. And it's at that point you remind yourself, no, my old habits aren't going to get me to goal. What's going to get me to goal are the habits that I developed and used to lose the 26 pounds. If I continue to do more of that, I will continue to have the success. If I allow the old habits to come back, then I'm going to get the old lifestyle back. And the old lifestyle is what convinced you to join Weight Watchers in the first place. And that's not where we want to live. We want to live in this new, healthy, happy lifestyle that you developed. So Linda, thanks for writing in. Go after it. Next up, I want to this was a really, really good email. It's going to take me a second to get through it, but I want you to hang around for the end. Amy writes in, and it says, hi, it's not, here's my why, FatDag. It's not anything that I want to admit or think about too hard, but I need to find a way to get over this. Let me start by saying thank you for your service to our country. I am online only, and I believe that without the awesome support provided by you and this community, I would not be where I am now. I've been a member for 3 months and thought my why was to look good and keep up with my children. I've come to realize it runs a bit deeper than that, and I can feel the wall I'm about to hit coming at me fast. If I am honest with myself, and that can be hard, this wall has been looming for about 10 years now. It's about to get long, so here goes. I've always been told how lucky that I am. Oh, Amy, you're so lucky to have such a loving man. Oh, Amy, you're so lucky to have your 4 beautiful boys. Oh, Amy, your job is so amazing. Oh, Amy, everything seems so easy for you. I get so sick of that one. Nothing is easy, ever. My true why is also my biggest obstacle, and that is my oldest son, Devin. I turned 46 early this month. I'm a mom to 4 boys, ages 22, 19, 6, and 2, and a grandma to a sweet 3-year-old girl. The age gap does indeed speak to a divorce. There was no cheating, abuse, or anything like that. I simply fell out of love with my husband. I was still in my 20s, and I worked hard at staying in the marriage for several years. I could not imagine living the rest of my life with someone I had no feelings for. It was not fair to either one of us. I asked my husband for a divorce. His answer was no. This dragged on for quite some time. He eventually moved out, but was very bitter. Every chance he had, he made awful remarks about me to our boys. They were 7 and 11 at the time. Our oldest son, Devin, did not handle the divorce well. Dad met someone new, got remarried, and told our boys he did not have room for them in his life. Devin blamed me. He turned to drugs, running away, and getting into all kinds of trouble. I worked full-time, then I added a part-time job, and was doing my best to raise the boys on my own. I was failing. I would like to go to work. I would go to work, and an hour later, the sitter would call me and tell me that Devin had left. She didn't know where he was. I worked my full-time job until 2 a.m. I would get home, and I would drive around until dawn looking for him. He was not afraid to sleep at the park or in the woods near our house. I would stop searching in time to wake his brother up and get him off to school. The police were regulars at our house. I failed my son. My sweet son, who was always so loving, now hated me. He hated that I left his dad. He blamed me that his dad lived 10 minutes from us but didn't have time for them. He blamed me for working 2 jobs and not being home as much as I should be. Everything escalated until one night I got a phone call that Devin was in jail. He had stolen a car and led police on a high-speed chase. He was 17 at the time. I was so tired with life. I was tired of doing this alone, tired of feeling like a failure, tired of not being able to fix my son's problems. As a mom, I should be able to keep him safe. I failed. Yet somehow people kept telling me how lucky I was, how lucky that I was able to be so independent, how lucky I was able to function on so little sleep, how lucky I was to make everything look so easy. I was falling apart, and people just thought I was lucky. Devin was in jail an hour and a half from our house. I accepted a collect call from him every single night. I put money in his canteen every week. I visited him 2 times a week. I drove 3 hours round trip to see him for 30 minutes through glass. I wrote him a letter every single day, so we always had something to look forward to. He was there for 8 months. I was working about 70 hours a week so I could afford to fund all of those things. My stress level was through the roof. I started to put on weight. There was no time for me. And quite frankly, I didn't deserve the time. I had failed my son. Dad did not even visit one time, yet somehow he was the hero. It was, after all, my fault all this had happened. And I believed this to be true. The tone of this definitely is not one of self-pity. It just is what it is. By this time, I was in a relationship with an amazing man. I had stayed single for quite some time because my boys and running the household took all of my time and my attention. Devin served his time, got out of jail, met a girl, and was doing well. Then it all fell apart. Every time something goes wrong with Devin's life, I feel guilty. So very guilty. If I had just stayed with his dad, perhaps things would be different. I cannot get this out of my head. The weight continued to creep on. In the meantime, my Mr. Brady and I decided to have 2 more children. I say Mr. because although he would love for us to be married, I am terrified of the thought. What if I get married again and it doesn't work, and I ruin my youngest boys' lives? Devin pops in and out of my life. The wall running at me is that he is still not a stable adult, and I blame myself. How dare I think about losing weight for myself when my child is still so hurt and angry with me? As a mom, I want to be able to fix everything, and I cannot. I am stretched so thin. Devin moved back in for a few months while he was getting back on his feet again. There were rules, and he didn't follow them, so we asked him to leave. I was dying inside. It is not fair to my family that I devote so much time to someone who cares so little, but I cannot stop. I need to find a way to feel worthy of taking care of myself. We are an active family. In the summer, we go camping, boating, biking, and I cannot tell you how often I chase the boys playing tag at the park. At home, I was always on the floor playing with the kids. That is what my dad always did. Therefore, it's what I do. They grow up so fast, and I do not want to be the fat, out-of-breath old mom who cannot do things. My age, I cannot help. The rest, I can. For all the extra weight I carry, I'm actually a pretty strong person. I have this overwhelming sense of guilt, though. I need to find a way to find peace with the fact that I cannot live Devin's life for him. I cannot fix every problem that he creates. I cannot let him disrespect me one day while trying to save him the next. I have lost 35 pounds. This has me at an even 200. I've been sitting here for a few weeks, and I know it's because I am holding myself back. Is it time for me to forgive myself and everything and be able to start taking care of myself? I just don't know how. I honestly don't even know how to word my why. Maybe so I feel worthy of being happy and healthy. When people tell me how lucky I am, I want to be able to look them in the eye and agree with them. Of course, inside, I will know it has nothing to do with luck. I have a beautiful family because all these years I've been focused and determined. I have a cool career because I have been focused and persevered. I have huge bags under my eyes because I'm still a bit foolish thinking I can handle full-time college along with a full-time career and children. However, as a result of all that, I have huge focus. So there you have it. I need to forgive myself. I need to be here for my son, but also not be afraid to let him stumble and learn. I need to give myself permission to not feel guilty. When that guilt is gone, oh man, it will feel so amazing. Deep down, I know I am worthy. I know I did the best I could with what I had. I will get past this and I will hit my goal weight, whatever that may be. I will know I am there when I love what I see in the mirror. Thanks for taking the time for this super long, rambling, kind of confusing, finding my reason why letter. Amy. Amy, huge hugs to you for sure. What you've gone through is truly heart-wrenching in a sense where, I don't know too many people who could sign up for that and handle it as well as you have. There's so much good going on in your email that I want to focus there for a little bit. You clearly know what focus is. You clearly know what love is. You clearly know how to handle any scenario that's thrown at you. So the fact that, you're trying to take responsibility for his failure is certainly not your responsibility. As a parent, I can tell you this now as a parent, the best we can do is guide our children, but at some point, the decisions they make outside of our guidance have to be their responsibility. There's only so much we can do. And so you've lost 35 pounds when you finally started to realize that you need to focus on you. All the driving that you did, all the letter writing that you did, all the hours you spent looking, the time you spent working, all of that proves to me that whatever you want to do, you can do. So we have to shift your priority back to you. Still, obviously, being very mindful that you're a mom and a parent still. That obviously has to stay in the limelight. But you have to put yourself ahead of a lot of other things that you currently are putting ahead of you. If you move yourself to the head of the line, you get to the point where you're happy, you're taking care of you, everything else starts falling into place. I agree with you when people tell you how lucky you are, and you want to look in their eyes and agree with them. And I tell you, this weight loss thing has nothing to do with luck. And I'm glad to see you spell it out that, again, you have a cool career because you've been focused and you persevered. You've handled your full-time college because you just have huge focus. Let's shift that focus to you. Now I want to kind of paraphrase this for you. I want to kind of give you an analogy. And I sense where you're at in your email. And a lot of times as we take care of everything in our life except for our health, your health gets whatever time and energy you have left at the end of the day. In your case, that's not much. You spent so much time, energy, and devotion on everything but you that your health doesn't have any room in your life. So I want you to devote more time and energy to that. And as I would kind of talk about explaining is I kind of get that same sense as I do this podcast. I get tons of emails saying, Mike, without you, I couldn't have done it. Without you, I couldn't have done it. And what I want to express to you is I am not responsible for your success. I'm also not responsible for your failure. All I can do is tell you what I did. All I can do is tell you that you can do it. All I can do is show you the way But at some point, you have to take the steps to get it done. I tell people every day, just track everything you eat. I make sure to say at the beginning of every podcast, when you're out of points, stop eating points. I want you to weigh in regularly. I weigh in every single day, and for some people I recommend it, for some I don't, but I at least want you to check in regularly. I never want you to miss a meeting with your accountability team. If you're not able to lose weight, am I a failure? Because I gave you the game plan. I gave you the playbook. I said, here's everything you need to do to be successful. You've done that with Devin. You've set him up in such a way where he had everything he could possibly need to be successful. In fact, he still has that. You're still there, and when he figures it out and comes back to you, I know you welcome him with open arms. That's the piece you need to come to terms with. You have done everything that you can do. You are still willing to do whatever you need to do. But at some point, he has to take the steps. At some point, those listening to the podcast, those working the plan, they have to determine that they are important enough to find a plan and find a track that works. So that's what we have to do. So, everything that you've done behind the scenes, whether he recognizes that or not, is irrelevant. You put in 100% effort, and that's where you need to be glad and be proud about. It's like me. There's so many things behind the scenes that get this podcast going that I don't share openly and honestly. There's so much going on behind the scenes that if someone said, hey, I listened to the Bike Guide podcast, it doesn't work for me, I can go to bed every night going, I'm doing the best that I can. Amy, you're doing the best that you can. And by all accounts, the best that you can is far outweighs, even what I would have considered would have been the best. You're hitting it out of the park. So let's just shift your focus. Be there for him as he needs it, but you can't do it for him. Do it for you. That's the one thing you can control. That's the only person in this journey who you can 100% have responsibility for. Amy, thank you for sharing. I know without a doubt you're not alone in this journey. I know there are many parents who are going through this exact scenario that you're going through, and it's absolutely going to impact other areas of their life. So as you write in and you took the time to detail out your why, there's someone else listening right now that says, aha, I got it. Amy, thank you for helping me get to goal. So Amy, thank you from the community. Great job for sure. Out of Louisville, Kentucky, Michelle writes in and says, hello, FatDag. I've been listening to your podcast for a while now, and I love them. I actually prefer listening to them on my walks instead of music. You don't know this, but the podcast and you have become an integral part of my weight loss journey. I'm writing to you today to let you know that I am finally celebrating my 10% lost. Please celebrate with me. Let me explain why I'm using the word finally. You see, after rejoining Weight Watchers for the 7th or 8th time since I was a teenager, because I have struggled with being overweight since I was a child. I started my journey to lose weight again at the end of June of 2016. I told myself that I was not going to give up this time, that I was going to weigh in at every meeting no matter what. I was down 25 pounds as of December 10th, 2016, so I was only 2 pounds away from the coveted 10%, which was 27 pounds for me. So by the end of February 2017, though, I struggled. I struggled with depression and anxiety, and unfortunately, they reared their ugly head after Christmas, and they continued until February. I had gained 13 pounds, which put me back to a total loss of 12 pounds. I was so disappointed in myself. I spent March 2017 through mid-September 2018 in a vicious cycle of losing and gaining because I was inconsistently following the program. Then, in late September 2017, I finally decided that I'd had enough of that and I wanted to end that cycle. So I decided to set a 100-day tracking challenge for myself. I was going to track everything, no matter what, the good, the bad, the ugly, for 100 days straight. I got a new booklet from my receptionist and I wrote 100-day tracking challenge on it so I could see the progress that I could make when I actually was tracking and following the Weight Watcher program as it's meant to be followed. So far, my tracking challenge helped me to lose 15.6 pounds, and I haven't finished the booklet yet. At last week's weigh-in on November 18th, I got back to 25 pounds down, so that meant I had lost all the weight that I'd gained. I was determined and focused this week, even though the Thanksgiving holiday had a 3.2 pound loss when I weighed in this morning on the 25th at my regular 7:30 a.m. Saturday meeting. So I'm down to a total of 28.2, and I finally received my 10% loss charm. I was so incredibly happy and so proud of myself for not giving up. I may not have been consistent, but I have been persistent on my journey, and that has made all the difference. Now that I've reached my 10%, I know I can make goal. Thank you for all that you do and for helping me believe in myself and my ability to be successful in my weight loss journey. Best wishes to you and our fellow wingmen and wingwomen. Well, this is a great email, Michelle. Thank you so much. Congratulations on hitting 10%. You clearly know what I'm going to say next. If you've hit 10%, you can hit goal. It's very, very true. You've set a goal through the ups and the downs, through being persistent, you can hit goal. And it's that persistence versus the consistency, or however you want to word it, but it's that I haven't given up. And not only just you're not giving up, and when I mean you're not giving up, I don't want you to just go through the motions. I want you to be actively engaged in doing this, but you don't need to be perfect at it. You just need to every day check in and say, I want to get this done. The focus that you had, that you said, I'm going to weigh in at every meeting, no matter what, that is what got you close to your 10% charm in the first place. You simply forgot about that somewhere in the middle. And you have to have a reset strategy when those times happen. So we're all going to come to a point in our time where things just don't go as well, where we start off really strong, we start off really well, we get to that point where the complacency trap sets in, episode 72. But when you get to that point, you need to recognize that you're there. You need to recognize that and have some triggers in place that if this happens, I institute this. For me, it's a clothing change. When my clothing size goes up, that's an indication for me that I have to change. I weigh myself every day just to make sure I'm where I want to be. I have a plan in place that if for some reason I start seeing numbers I don't like on the scale, if the clothes I'm wearing don't fit, I have a plan. That reset strategy is a strategy that you have to develop so that you have the tools to regroup and refocus as you're done. You've hit your 10%. You've almost hit it the first time. And what that tells me is that the plan absolutely works. It's a lifelong journey. You have to stay in this for the long haul. What I want you to do is, even though it's a lifelong journey, I don't want you to be trying to lose weight for the rest of your life. I want you to get to the point where you cross that finish line of wanting to lose weight. I want you to get some focus, some drive, some determination. Use the energy that you have from hitting your 10% and say, I am going to get this done no matter what. As you race forward, as you run as fast as you can to track everything, to stay focused, to stay mindful, to get this weight off once and for all, you'll get to a place that you've never been as an adult. It's at that point you say, I'm done. I am done with this weight loss mode. I now will just maintain that for the rest of my life. That's the journey I want you to live in. I want you to live in the journey that's happy and healthy, where you love everything about your journey. I want you to break out of the part where you're trying to lose weight. Now that you've reached your 10%, I know you can make goal too. You know you can make goal. The Wingman tribe, we know you can make goal. So great focus on your holiday. Great job losing 3.2 pounds over the Thanksgiving break. Don't tell me you can't get there for the rest of the year. You did it over the hardest week of the year, and by not giving up, you found a way to win. I'm proud of you. Very proud of you for not necessarily being consistent, but being persistent. And I agree with you. That makes all the difference. Michelle, congratulations. What a great, great success story. I'm honored to walk this journey with you. Next up is, I lost the name, so sorry about that. I will find it in the show notes and put it out there, but it got cut off from the email. But it says, hi, I'm a new old member of Weight Watchers. I went on Weight Watchers with my mom a few years ago. This is when Weight Watchers just came out with the cutie white calculator and the thick book to count the points. I was in my 20s and my goal was simple: lose 15 pounds. I say simple because it had no meaning behind it. It was just a number. After I had my daughter in my 30s, I gained 30 plus pounds. I felt awful. My confidence was low. I became isolated, and my relationship with my husband started to change. I went on Weight Watchers again, and I would gain a few pounds every week. This has been going on for years. I am now in my 40s. 2 years ago, I decided it would be a good idea to go on Weight Watchers with my husband. Not. He lost weight, and I was still losing a few pounds every week. In addition, everyone we knew would comment on his success, and I felt like a failure. My dad died last year, and it was one of the biggest losses I've ever experienced. My dad was a man who turned his life around and showed me that anything is possible. He was an alcoholic and became sober when I was 14 years old. I didn't know it then, but as I got older, I realized that he taught me that we are in control of our failures as well as our success. I can still hear him say every day, "One day at a time, Jenny. You always speak of finding your why." This has been plaguing me for weeks, so I decided to write it out for me to see in plain black and white. The reason why I want to lose weight is because I want to feel good about me. I want to feel confident when I look in the mirror. I want to go shopping in my own closet. I want a stronger connection to my husband. And I want to honor my dad's life lesson. And I want to feel success. That felt good. Since writing my why, I've lost 11 pounds. I'm excited. I use some of your tools to help work the program. When I'm out of points, I stop eating points. I've been walking with my husband as often as possible and find what I'm going to eat on the Weight Watcher app prior to going out to eat. I learned that the hard way. I am taking this journey one day at a time and trying not to beat myself up when I choose to give into my triggers. Even that is getting better as the recovery time is within a day. That in itself is a huge accomplishment for me. I am finding meaning in this journey and embracing the challenges as opportunities to gain insight into myself. I am feeling proud of myself and I am feeling the taste of success. I have a ways to go before I meet my goal weight, but I am totally okay with that because there is no doubt in my mind that I will get there. Thank you again, FatDag, for helping me define my why. It has helped me to empower myself. I do have 3 questions, if you don't mind. 1, why do you call yourself FatDag? What does FatDag mean? What does it mean to be a lifetime member? And what are blue dots? Well, Jenny, thank you for your email. Let's talk about this for just a second. Your dad, as an amazing man, sums up this entire journey quite well. We are in control of our failures as well as our success. When we take responsibility for our own journey, that's when we can turn it around. When you started this early in your 20s and your goal was simply just to lose 15 pounds, you didn't have the meaning behind it. So whether you were in control of your failure or your success, you didn't really know what success was going to look like. So therefore, it became difficult for you to manage the whole process. We don't know what the number is, right? So we have to focus on our health. We have to focus on being healthy and living healthy. This journey takes a long time for many of us, and the habits that we've lived with for so long to get us out of shape, that is what we kind of have to undo. I want you to be in control of your success. Success doesn't just happen. You have to take deliberate steps, deliberate focus. You have to set a plan in place. You have to set a goal in place and say, I want this, and I'm going to go after it. You can do that. Clearly, you're doing that. There isn't a timeline that's on there, but there is a finish line. That's twice tonight we talked about the finish line piece. This journey is hard work. I want you to break up the journey into different stages. And there's a weight loss journey. There's a weight loss phase that I want you to remain super duper focused. I want everything in your brain to go, I am losing weight. I'm tracking. I'm focused. I'm looking up things before I go out to eat. I'm focused. I want to get this weight off. And when you get it off and you get to goal, it's at that point you then figure out that you are still in control of your success. You're still in control of your journey. But at that point, you now have freed yourself from this lifelong struggle of, I don't know what I'm trying to do. And so that's why it's very important for you to have a goal. Have a goal and go after it. It's why if you've hit 10%, you can hit goal. If you've hit your 11 pounds lost, you can eventually get to your 10% because you've set a goal along the way and you've said, I want to hit it. And as you struggled and regrouped and refocused and you continued to persevere and you've shown that you have the resiliency inside to really just make it happen, that is how you can hit goal. But you have to have a goal. And your goal is to say, I no longer want to lose any more weight. You clearly can get there. As your dad said, one day at a time, Jenny. It's just one day at a time. Wake up tomorrow on fire. Wake up tomorrow saying, do I want pizza or do I want goal? Do I want cake or would I rather make goal? Do I want to go to the gym today or do I want to make goal? In that case, you want to do both. Do I want to stay on the couch today or do I want to make goal? That will empower you to get up. Jenny, it's one day at a time. You can do this. Honor your dad. Honor you. And you're right. Anything is possible. You clearly can do this. And when you do, you're absolutely going to feel good about yourself. I can tell you're going to look confident when you look in the mirror. When you're going to go shopping in your own closet, you're going to get to the point where everything about your life becomes joyous and it's a celebration. And the things that you're able to do at goal that you never even thought were possible will continue to surprise you. Great job looking things up before. That's part of the plan. Now go after it and go get it. As far as your three questions, first of all, why do I call myself FatDag? Last name is Daggett. We've talked about this before. Abbreviated as Dag. So I was overweight when I created my username, so FatDag just kind of stuck. It was an adjective and a noun. I've merged the two now, so now FatDag is simply a noun. It gives me a great opportunity when someone says, hey, this is FatDag, and people see me. It gives me a chance to tell the story. So I will forever be the noun FatDag for sure. What does it mean to be a lifetime member? As a lifetime member, it means that in the meeting room, you went into the meeting room, you set a plan, you hit your goal weight, you lost 10 pounds or more in the meeting room. You maintained that for 6 or so weeks. You hit your goal weight and maintained it. And then at that point, you are a lifetime member of Weight Watchers. You're welcome to a lifetime. As long as you maintain that success, then the meetings are free for you and the monthly pass is free for you, as long as you weigh in and follow the guidelines of weighing in once a month and then weighing in within 2 pounds of your goal weight. The blue dots help you eat in a healthy eating range. It gives you a range to follow that every day, if you eat within that healthy range, the blue dots are there just to kind of give you an indication of how well you're tracking, how well you're following the program, and whether or not you're overeating or undereating. That kind of gives you an indication to get you eating in a healthy zone. You can look it up in the Journey tab in your app. Last up, Alyse writes in with a Thanksgiving Day celebration as we end the Thanksgiving break. It says, I am most thankful for my faith, which gets me through the hardest of my times and my friends who are also my family. And I'm also thankful for RedWine, Alyse. I agree with you for sure. We have a lot to be thankful for, right? As we walk this journey, there are so many things that we're thankful for. As we look to them, we start finding more and more things to be thankful for. Whatever you focus on increases. Focus on your health. Focus on what your goal is. Go after it and let's celebrate. What is it that you're celebrating? Let's share it on the air. Go to FatDag.com, click on Listen Now, send in your celebrations, your comments, and your questions. I'll work them in as part of the show. I want you to email in your celebrations because I want you to be proud of what you're doing. And when you're proud of what you're doing, we work together as a community. We let each other know that you may be doing this, but you're not doing it alone. You clearly have the ability to do this. And when you do, you reach back and you find someone else and you say, we can do this together. And when we do that, we build a supportive community of people just like us, who are having success just like us. Well, that's going to do it for this time. Remember that losing weight and getting healthy has nothing to do with luck. You have to remain disciplined and focused. Set your sights on your goal and go after it. I wish you good focus.